Hey guys, it's the Ant-Man here, and I love the Fate series.
Yes, this was the original series that got me into both Type Moon and by extension the works of Dojin games. I find the story of 7 mages fighting over the Holy Grail by summoning 7 heroes from different parts of history and mythology to be absolutely epic. I love the current series that is airing, Fate Zero. Fantastic animation, music, and one of the best characters in fiction ever. But I'm not here to talk about how insanely awesome Ryder is.
I'm here to talk about the series that came before Fate Zero, which Fate Zero was a prequel to, hence why it has Zero in the name. Yeah, damn it, Lucas, why did you have to make such a confusing trend? Anyway.
I got into this series through the original anime adaptation of the visual novel, and while I did find it a little generic and a bit wordy at times, I did really like the story and characters, save for our male protagonist. Yeah, I know the perfect actor for this guy, should they ever try and make an American film adaptation. Hey, they're going to use this guy as Spike, so who really cares about American adaptations at this point? But I digress.
So after I finished the anime, I went down and bought the original visual novel as well as the PlayStation 2 adaptation, and I really fell in love with the story and characters, even Shiro a little bit. Anyway, while I could talk about the original PC game, I'm not sure if I'm completely comfortable talking about a game where the idea of recharging magic also involves the possible risk of pregnancy. Yeah, and even with this PG-13 version, I'm not sure if I'm completely comfortable talking about the Heaven's Feel arc. I mean, I really like Sakura, but her story arc involves enough nightmare fuel to drive you straight to Traumaville. No, I'm not kidding. Look, I bought this at the gift shop. Which reminds me, I never opened this thing before. Huh, I wonder what's inside. Um, 2X or size. Okay, yeah, so instead let's review Fate Unlimited codes.
So, with a story about mages summoning famous historical and mythological figures to fight for them, I guess a fighting game would make the most logical sense. That or maybe an RPG, but that's for another day. The game originally came out in Japanese arcades and then got ported to the PSP with 4 new characters. Visually, it looks like an arcade game. Certainly no Soul Calibur or Street Fighter, but I think very serviceable and stays true to the visual style of the original game without going too much into the realm of Heaven's Feel, thankfully. Characters move fluidly and have some awesome looking attacks. That's all I need, really. Sound-wise, this game is fantastic, as is any pre-production. A very haunting opening tune by Tainaka Sachi and some very nice orchestral themes for the BGM. For voices, they include full voice acting for the cutscenes and battles, and they all sound great. On a side note, they include a very nice effect when Archer almost finishes his Unlimited Blade Works chant. The BGM changes to a certain tune, and then, well, for those who have seen the 14th episode of the anime, you should know what's coming next. If you haven't, go watch it right now, it's awesome. Oh yeah, it's in this game. Gameplay wise, this is a very solid fighting game. Controls are very responsive and moves aren't overly complicated to perform. This game gives you the option to map some macro buttons for any of the characters' special attacks, so even the most inexperienced can get into the action. And it has a good tutorial to get the basics down. Fighting is a little bit more on the 2D side. They don't move a lot into 3D, much like, say, in Soul Calibur or something. But me personally, I've always favored a little more 2D myself. Characters are able to pull off some awesome finishers, and an interesting feature they include are special animations for the characters who use finishers on certain characters. But for instance, try using Shiro's finisher on Kotomine for an awesome effect. No online play, unfortunately, but I think it more than makes up for it with its arcade mode, which I'll get to in just a minute, as well as a really great mission mode. Here you can hone your skills with your favorite characters, and if you complete a certain amount of missions, you can unlock a special EX mission, which is basically a little minigame. All of the characters have their own unique minigames, and many of them follow the Type Moon patterns of being outright hilarious and just plain out fun. The actual roster includes 14 characters plus a few hidden characters, so you have a decent amount of characters to play with. Last but certainly not least, let's talk about story. I'm in full agreement with guys like Angry Joe who say a fighting game needs a good single player story. It could either be an epic story mode like the one in Melty Blood, or at least an arcade mode that includes individual stories for each of the characters. This game has a ladder and it's great. I mostly bring this subject up because for some reason this concept eludes certain developers, even in this day and age where there's more advanced fighting games. For each of its characters, Unlimited Codes includes an opening scene, predetermined mid and final battles, and a closing scene, all with dialogue and all fully voiced. So a very basic 3-act structure, but I think it really works here. All of the stories range from being super depressing to outright hilarious, to dark, to incredibly heartwarming, to just plain out awesome. It's all great, and the stories themselves can be seen as alternate takes on the events of Stay Night. Personally, I would love to see a few of these get OVAs or something. That would be great. Overall, just some really well written and told stories that make you really appreciate the plethora of characters you get. Now, as for how you go about getting this game, you don't have to go out and buy an import PS2 or anything. An English PSP version is available exclusively on the PlayStation Store, and I see no serious drop in quality. And they even included a few new costumes for some of the characters. For $20, I think it's a great price for a very fun and entertaining game with some of the better single-player modes I've seen in a while. If you're a fan of Fate, this is a must-have. If not, I would still recommend this to any casual gamer or fan of fighting games. So I'm giving this game a very solid 4 out of 5.
And that's my review of Fate Unlimited Codes. I love the series, I love the game, I recommend you check out both. Now, normally this is the part of the show where I would take off my hat and say my hat's off to you guys and all that jazz, but for today I think I'm probably going to need it to take care of this little guy. So instead, let's roll the credits, and I'll see you guys next time. Okay, let's get this show on the road. Uh-oh. Hurry, back, I say, back!